Hey YouTube, it is Dion. If you are back, welcome back. If you are new here, welcome. And if you like silliness, goofiness, and just random, we don't know what is going to happen today, then this is the channel for you. I have some notes. This is going to be, I'm going to just do like a basic face just because I haven't worn makeup in a while. And I'm going to chat about, as the title says, polyamory terms. Hey guys, so I think I have everything here in front of me. I didn't have my glass container to do my foundation, so I'm just going to go through a few poly terms really quickly. I'm just blending in my foundation right now, and yes, my hairline is always crooked. That's the way it is. In poly relationships, someone may say, oh, they're in a triad or a triangle poly relationship, and what that means is that there are three people who are in that relationship, and they are all emotionally and sexually involved with each other. Similar to that is a quad. And as we know, a quad is four people. So there are four people who are in this relationship, and they are all involved with each other. They may live together, they may not. The same with the triads. They may live together or they may not. The ones that I know and that I've heard of more regularly, they do tend to live together, and they call that a poly household. And sometimes they, even if one or another has children, or two of the three have children, they raise their children like all as one happy family. I don't want to say like the show Sister Wives, because in poly relationships, it's not always one man and two or more women. And so that is a really poor example. But that's the concept, is where you just raise your children together as a family, if you're in a triad or in a quad, and if you also live together. And yes, I did just drop that. Another term really quick is a V relationship, like the letter V. It's also called a hinge. The person who connects the two non-relationship people. Let me back up really quick. All right, me being a polyamorous, okay, I have a partner, and it's been mostly just us two for the time that we've been together. If I were to get another partner, those two, so this is my current partner, this would be the new partner, they're not involved with each other. And so I am the hinge. So I'm down here, I'm the hinge. And that's what makes the V. So one partner, me, the other partner up here. So I connect those two, even though they're not involved with each other. And so that's the concept behind a V or a hinge. It's like they only know of each other because of you. Or you only know of the other one because of one of them. And so that is just real simple. A few of the structures. So you have triad, where there's three people. All three are sexually and emotionally involved with each other. You have a quad, four people, all sexually and emotionally involved with each other. A quad or a triad may be open or it may be closed. Closed would mean these three can only be with these three. If it's a quad, these four can only be with these four. If it's open, you can be in a quad and still have other relationships with somebody over here. If you're in a triad and it's open, one or two or three of them can have outside relationships. Sometimes the ones I've heard most frequently about is they were closed triads or closed quads, and they actually opted to raise their children like in a single household. And so sometimes they will live together and sometimes they won't. And so it's like one big happy family, and everyone just shares everything, the adults. And as far as the children know, it's just like, oh, okay, this is my mom's other friend. Like, you really don't want to involve your children in the ins and outs of what your relationship structures are or who's sleeping with who, because I don't personally think that children should even know that. And if they're teenagers, at some point they will figure it out. But if they're adolescents, all they need to know is that, in my opinion, all they need to know is that mommy or daddy loves Bob and Jack, and that it's okay. And there are some people who do go a little further and explain more than that to their children, and that's up to them, and it's also up to, you know, how mature is your child. But this is not about children, and I am making a lovely mess. And so those are just really quick, just some terms, and so I am going to leave that there, and I'm going to finish my face. I am sweating. It seems not to matter where I am in my apartment. When I do my face, I just really start to sweat. You know what? And I've said it before, it's this ring light. So another term, which wasn't on my list because I didn't think I was going to go through that fast. Another term is solo poly. Solo poly is a person who they prefer to more or less be on their own. And I'm not saying that in a way where they don't want to be in a relationship. They are in a relationship, but they prefer to, what's the word? They prefer to maintain their autonomy. Like, they're not people who want to be joined at the hip. They want to go everywhere that you go. They may or may not care about being introduced, you know, to your family. They may or may not care about introducing you to their family. They're in a relationship with you, but they're very much independent, and they do not define themselves based on the relationship. And they may or may not say that, you know, this is my boyfriend or this is my girlfriend, which I have problems with those terms, and so that's why you'll hear me just say my partner a lot, because he's not a boy and I'm not a girl. Like, we're grown. And some people say, oh, that's my beau. Okay, you can do that. All right, sounds cute. And so that's solo poly. And also for solo poly, from what I know about it, they tend not to want nesting partners. Like, they're very much independent. Yes, they want to be with you, they love you, but chances are they will never want to move in with you. They will never want you to move in with them. They value their space and their individuality. They want to be known for who they are, not known for, oh, you're so-and-so's partner. And I'm hoping that makes sense, because there are some people who, I'm going to use a really bad example. I know some women, and I know some men too, and I don't know if it's just more prevalent in the BDSM community, or if it's just that it seems like people are more open about how they feel and the things that they want in the BDSM community. But people will say, oh, I just need to be, you know, someone submissive. I just need to be someone's dominant. I just need to be, you know, someone's slave. And they identify themselves according to the person that they are with. And for solo poly, they identify themselves just based on themselves, not according to who they're in a relationship with. And I'm sure some of you know people like that, when they get with someone and that person is their entire world, and it seems like they've lost themselves, or like this is so uneven, or like they're not their own person anymore. Everything they do and say is based on this other person. And so that's solo poly, where they are extremely independent. They do negotiate the relationship with you, as I believe all relationships should. But they will not want to be attached to you to the point where they lose who they are. And they definitely do not want other people to associate them with you. And not in a bad way, like, yes, this is my partner. When I say it's that they don't necessarily want to be associated with you, I mean they don't want to be associated with, oh, that's Dion's partner. They just want to be George, or, you know, Jeffrey, or Michael. You know what I mean? So they want to just maintain who they are outside of if they're going to be with me or not. or whoever. Doesn't have to be me, it could be whoever. What's another one? Relationship anarchist. Relationship anarchist is interesting to me. Relationship anarchists, they're interesting to me because they do not set rules for their relationships as a whole. Like for me, and of course everybody does, that you have your own boundaries, you have your preferences, and you know what you're looking for, and you know what you want to do. This is looking really bright on camera, and in person it's, well, in the mirror back there, it's really not. So anarchists, they, like for me, in the video before, this has nothing on here, I'm just going over it, and I think I'm going to add a little bit more powder because it's looking really, I'll just leave it. It's looking really bright on camera. Like for me, I've gone over in a video before, like what my personal boundaries are, and also how my partner and I have structured our relationship, and we pretty much have like the same idea of what poly is to us as individuals, and so that makes us a really good match. But and so any relationship I get into, I'm going to still have those same boundaries. And so it's important for me when I meet someone, and this may change. I mean, this may change because we grow, we evolve, our feelings change, our wants, our desires may change. But relationship anarchists, they don't have that structure. It's like when they meet someone, whatever they want that particular relationship to be, that's what that relationship is going to be. They don't go into it like, well, my boundary is this, and my boundary is that, and my boundary is this, and my boundary is that. They meet someone and they sit down and decide, this is what this individual relationship is going to be. There are no set rules based on their other relationships. Like one of my boundaries that my partner and I have is that if we meet someone and have an interest in someone else, we will let the other person know that, I've met someone and I have an interest in this person. A relationship anarchist, they might be like, it's none of their business. Like, I'm not going to carry my boundary with my current partner over into this potential new relationship. And so some people have, some people disagree with the philosophy of relationship anarchists. Because I think it's misunderstood where they just have no boundaries at all, but they do. They just don't carry boundaries for one relationship into their other relationships. If someone has a boundary, I'm always going to use condoms and dental dams with my partner. A relationship anarchist, they might meet someone and be like, I don't want to use condoms or dental dams with this person, and they may or may not feel obligated to let their other person know, because using condoms and dental dams with that partner has nothing to do with what they use with this partner. And some may let their other partners know that they have other partners, and some may not. And so I think it has a bad rep, because it does seem like, okay, you're just out here doing what you want to do, but that's not what it is. And so, and it's probably sounding like that the way I'm explaining it, and my understanding of it is that that's how it is, but it's not as harsh or as uncaring or unconcerning as it sounds. Because when any relationship you get into or you consider getting into, you're going to talk to that person and find out, how they function or how they imagine their relationships to be. You don't get into a relationship and then it's all of a sudden like, oh my gosh, like I didn't know this or that about you, or oh, I didn't know that you never wanted a nesting partner. A nesting partner is someone that you want to actually live with. You don't get into a relationship with somebody and you want children, and then 6 months later you find out they don't want kids at all. I mean, it's just certain things as adults, I believe, should be talked about up front before you become emotionally invested in someone, because you may end up not being compatible for reasons that were really easy to point out in the very beginning. And so if you do come across someone who is a relationship anarchist, as long as you're happy with that person and the way you two structure your relationship, that's the only thing that really matters. And people do things differently. And polyamory is not to be taken lightly because it does require, in my opinion, a lot of communication. And I'm trying to think of another term. So we talked about triads, we've talked about quads. I threw in the word metamor in there. Did I throw in the word metamor? Metamor is your partner's partner. And I don't know if I agree with that term or not. And I do apologize if it seems like I'm speaking gibberish. Welcome to my channel. This is how I am. I think of something and then I just say it, and then I'm like, that didn't make sense right there. I should have said that like 20 minutes ago. So a metamor is or would be my partner's partner. And that's just a nice way, shaking up the spray. And that's just a nice way of saying who that person is. But I would just be like, oh, that's George's friend Brenda. So sometimes I do think we make things a little more complicated than they probably need to be. I'm not going to put a mascara. And we've also talked about closed triads, closed quads. Polyfidelity is another term I'm going to throw in here for the sake of this video. Polyfidelity is you're in a poly group and you can only be with, sexually and emotionally be with people who are in that group. And if someone new comes along that you like, the group sits down and discusses, is this person going to be a part or not? I feel some kind of way about that because people don't like people equally. And so if I like George, I don't want to have to sit down with George and his 3 other partners to see, okay, are you guys going to accept me into the group? Because I may not want to be with all the other people. But some people do want to be in one big happy family. And so for those people, it is awesome. Or for people who are, I want to say this delicately, because I don't want to be insensitive. For people who are bisexual or bi-curious or heteroflexible or homoflexible, because you have men and women in these relationships. And so if you're going to be involved with everyone in a relationship, you have to be attracted to, I would hope, all the different genders or all the different non-genders in that relationship. Or at least be gender fluid. That's the term I was looking for, gender fluid. So I know I said a lot. We talked about triads, quads, open triads, open quads, closed triads, closed quads. We talked about triangles. And we also talked about being a hinge or a V. I briefly talked about what a metamor is and solo poly and a polyanarchist. And what was the last thing I just said? Polyfidelity. So if I went through anything really quick and you want more information from what little knowledge I have in my little brain and my big head, just let me know below and I will answer to the best of my ability. And I will say Google is your friend, because I've heard a lot of terms and then I've gone on and done research on Google and looked stuff up and also talked to people in the poly community. And so thank you guys for watching. I hope this was helpful. And I hope the new location, which may not remain the location, was okay. I'm not going to babble. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye. Don't forget to subscribe. I don't know why I'm pointing here because I'm not going to put anything there. Maybe I'll try. Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you will be notified of my new videos as they are posted. Thank you.